The day we were supposed to leave for our honeymoon, Terry surprised me with divorce papers. He told me that he was going to take his whole family on what was meant to be our romantic retreat, and that I could break up with him if I didn't like the plan. I replied coolly, despite the fact that I was boiling with rage within. That's fine, but remember, I'm still my own person. His look of surprise made me feel like I had won. My name is Mia, and I work in real estate. I am 38 years old. I am appreciative of my coworkers' support and find my employment to be fulfilling. I have a successful career, but my personal life is very straightforward. I have never been in a relationship before and don't have many hobbies. Observing friends get married in their 30s, I couldn't help but feel left behind. The fact that I saw younger coworkers often departing our organization, which always hurt me, added to the pressure. Then we shared a friend, and I got to know Terry. He was 3 years my junior, yet his reassuring smile always gave me a sense of security and worth. Terry was a man of few words, someone who would much rather listen than lead discussions. Considering my lack of romantic experience, he was the first to make me feel valued and participated in decision-making. He also accepted my thoughts. He rapidly won my affection, and our relationship took off. When the subject of marriage was brought up, Terry's easy consent to move forward seemed right. Choosing our future house and organizing the wedding and honeymoon were just two of the many decisions we had to make as a married couple. It was going to be one of the big turning points in life, and I could not wait to go through it with him. Terry never offered an opinion when it came to decisions. Instead, he would just nod in agreement with my suggestions. I started to feel less content with our relationship as a result of Terry's personality starting to seem less dependable due to this trend. My contacts with my mother-in-law were another area of developing anxiety. She was exactly the reverse of Terry, who was laid back. She was outspoken and seldom gave my thoughts much thought. She was extremely clear about what she expected from us right from the start. Mia, you'll quit your job to take care of the family after you get married, right? You are not getting younger, and if you put off having kids for too long, you may not get them. Terry puts in a lot of work. Therefore, as his wife, you should commit to the family. She had firmly traditional beliefs, believing that the wife should take care of the house while her husband was at work. She was unaware that I really made more money than Terry did. His mother expressed her disapproval, noting that a lady who earns more than her husband is not charming, even though he didn't object and had already told them about it. Can you even handle home tasks? In addition, she expressed doubts about my capacity to clean, cook, do laundry, and take care of my husband's health in a condescending manner. Despite her critical remarks, I knew that after years of living on my own, I was more than capable of taking care of domestic duties. After getting married, I was adamant that I would continue working because I wanted to put my goals and Terry's goals first. But when my mother-in-law chastised me, Terry said nothing, just nodded in agreement. I started to wonder if I could rely on him as a lifetime spouse after receiving this indifferent response. A part of me questioned whether Terry's youth played a role, thinking maybe with time he might develop into a more self-assured and encouraging companion. But there was also the worry that I might never be married at all if this marriage didn't work out. There was a mental battle going on in my head between hope and worry, but time was of the essence. My stress level increased as the list of tasks for the wedding, honeymoon, and scheduling time off work kept growing. There was still a lot of preparing left for the wedding. As I juggled busy days full of wedding plans and job obligations, the uneasiness persisted. I said to Terry one day that we were only able to take a lengthy vacation very soon because of our job schedules, and I brought up our honeymoon plans. Should we plan our honeymoon during this period? I asked him. Yes, that seems agreeable to me, Terry answered. Luckily, we both had similar downtimes at work, so this was our greatest opportunity to take a longer break. But there was a problem with our wedding arrangements. The location of my dreams was completely reserved for the upcoming year due to its immense popularity. What do you think about having the honeymoon before the wedding? I made a suggestion. I had read that this was a popular choice among couples. It might take us an additional 3 years to go on our trip if we put off getting married. Terry said, I'm cool with it too if you're cool with it, Mia. Terry's easy assent made me wish he would speak up more, but I was happy he didn't disagree. Part of me was relieved that there was no resistance, but I kept going forward with our objectives. In the end, we chose to go to Europe for our honeymoon. I couldn't decide between the great cultural diversity of Europe and the close proximity and convenience of Florida. I finally decided on Italy after being seduced by the thought of eating delicious food and meandering through picturesque alleys. In addition, I was excited to go around chic accessory stores in the area and maybe buy some unique dinnerware to mark the beginning of our new life together. It took me a month or so to finish all the arrangements after considering several timetables and locations. I could feel my excitement by then. I was excited to travel abroad for the first time with Terry, thinking that the experience would strengthen our bond and inspire him to open up to me more in the future. The excitement of organizing our honeymoon in Europe utterly enthralled me. Excitedly, I spent my days planning our itinerary and choosing the necessities for our trip. Any resentment I had toward Terry was immediately swept away by this exhilaration. But a week before we left, Terry took me by surprise with a request that piqued my interest. Considering how infrequently he requested for anything, could it have to do with our trip? Maybe he wanted to check out a new location he discovered in Venice. I eagerly inquired about his thoughts. Terry casually dropped a surprise. When we're in Venice, I want to visit Bing Taylor. Mom is quite eager to see it. His statement stunned and perplexed me. Your mom? What do you mean, wait? Terry pretended as though everything was as usual, even though I found it difficult to keep up with this abrupt change in schedule. Well, since everyone else is going, we'll all be together during the trip, right? Everyone? What do you mean by everyone? It's our honeymoon, so obviously, it should be just the two of us, I countered. But Terry continued, my mom thinks it's normal for the whole family to come along. I was flustered. Terry, I made reservations for just the two of us, and the deadline to book was a few days ago. Today is the last day to confirm. I'd booked for us alone. The whole family can't join now. If you think something can be worked out, you might want to talk to the travel agency. Before I could grasp the full implication of Terry's words, the intercom buzzed. On the screen, I saw my in-laws' bags and towel, completely disregarding my stunned expression as they entered our home. My mother-in-law's eyes gleamed with excitement as she exclaimed, I thought I'd leave the luggage here since we're leaving soon. Terry chimed in supportively, just leave the luggage here, and began ushering them into the room without my consent. Panicking, I blurted out, wait a minute, as I tried to intercept him, desperate to regain some control over the spiraling situation. I was trying to process the sudden upheaval of our honeymoon plans. My mother-in-law shot me a sharp look, her tone dismissive. What's the matter, Mia? I hope you're not suddenly saying you don't want us to go together, she challenged. I never agreed to this in the first place, I retorted, but she barely acknowledged my response. Instead, she turned to Terry, seeking his support. You heard her. She just said no. But you always thought we would go together, right? She coaxed him. Terry, seemingly caught in the middle, simply nodded and replied, "Yeah," affirming her presumption. Seizing on his agreement, my mother-in-law continued, overriding my objections. "It's normal for the husband's parents to accompany the couple on their honeymoon. Don't you have common sense? I hope you won't ruin this trip with any unpleasantness. We want to make good memories, right? I'll make sure to teach you some common sense this week before we leave. It's a special honeymoon, after all." Feeling like the world was crumbling around me, my frustration boiled over. "This is a honeymoon, you know. Normally, it's just supposed to be the husband and wife," I insisted, desperately trying to make her understand the traditional privacy expected on such an occasion. However, my mother-in-law was unyielding. "The husband's parents joining the honeymoon is just common sense. I can't believe you don't want to be with us. I thought we were becoming a family. But it seems our ideas of common sense are different. You don't seem to like me, and nothing seems to match." "How sad," she lamented, her eyebrows furrowed in what appeared to be contrived disappointment. Her words dripped with insincerity, and I was certain she was manipulating the situation. Even Terry, without questioning the normalcy of the situation, sided with her based on her coaxing alone. "Maya, what's wrong with you?" "They're my parents," he said, aligning himself with her narrative, leaving me to feel isolated and misunderstood in what was rapidly becoming a family versus individual conflict. "It's not possible for us all to go together on the honeymoon," I stated firmly. "We've already made reservations for just the two of us, and honestly, I'd never heard of families joining a honeymoon." Terry's response was immediate and heated, his frustration boiling over. "I can't believe you dislike my parents so much, Mia. That's enough for today," he snapped, disbelief clouding his features as he spoke. A triumphant grin spread across my mother-in-law's face. It stung to see Terry consistently siding with his mother, without considering my feelings, especially in such a personal matter. Before I could respond, I found myself being ushered towards the door. As it swung closed behind me, the last thing I saw was my mother-in-law's smug expression. Standing outside, I felt utterly powerless and wronged. Why was I being portrayed as the villain? Why did this special trip have to be overshadowed by such conflict? Overwhelmed by frustration and sadness, tears streamed down my face. A few hours later, a message from Terry pinged on my phone. "I want you to check if it's still possible for them to join the tour. If not, we'll cancel this trip and find one where all four of us can go. Please think rationally so we can sort this out properly." I was dumbfounded. His words implied that the fault lay with me, offering no room for apology or discussion. Terry had not contacted me since, likely upsetting himself. Time passed slowly, and soon the day we were supposed to depart for our honeymoon arrived. Despite my emotional turmoil, I had spent a month preparing for this trip and felt I couldn't just walk away. As I was getting ready, the intercom buzzed. It was Terry coming to pick me up. We hadn't seen each other since the argument, and I was unsure how to act around him. His arrival should have signaled that we were still going on the trip together, but oddly, he carried no luggage. Instead, he extended an envelope to me. It contained divorce papers. "After hurting my parents, you still plan to go on this trip, don't you?" he accused. "I'm taking my whole family on this honeymoon." His remarks pierced deeply, leaving me in shock at the abruptly harsh conclusion of what should have been the best period of our life. "We should just file for divorce if you don't like it." "My mother suggested that technique," Terry replied, thrusting the divorce documents in my direction. His genuine personality was very evident at that point. I used to think of him as a nice and thoughtful person, and I thought he would listen to my worries and put my feelings first. But as it turned out, he was a very private person who always gave his family's wants precedence over mine. This was Terry, as he really was. My love for him began to wane as this awareness dawned. It seemed hard to think of joining a household with a controlling mother-in-law, and marrying him seemed even more scary. I looked at the divorce papers he had thrown in front of me, and, with renewed resolution, I answered coolly, "Sure, but remember, I'm still single." "Alone? What do you mean?" Terry cried out, surprised at my answer. "Did you not pay attention? We discussed taking a honeymoon, but waiting until the day of the wedding to register the marriage legally. Terry, I made sure to gain your approval for it. I mean, you can forget. You said, if you're fine with it, then I'm fine too. And the marriage license is still in the drawer." "Yes, it is correct. We're not even married yet, divorce or not." I reminded him that there was nothing wrong with using my maiden name while on the honeymoon. Terry's expression flashed back and forth, then reddened as he raised his voice in exasperation. "Are you crazy enough to abandon your spouse for no apparent reason other than a honeymoon? Grab hold of anything." I shot back, my forceful voice matching Terry's passion. "This is my attempt at reason. I have been so consumed with my desire to marry that I have been oblivious to the realities of our circumstances. Marrying someone who doesn't support or listen to their partner's thoughts will not make me happy. I'd prefer to remain unmarried forever. I appreciate you letting me realize that hurrying leads to waste. Hey Mia, let's calm down and start over, okay?" Terry seemed to be on the point of tears as his eyes welled up and his voice cracked. But his entreaties no longer affected me. I had resolved to end this cycle of negativity. I told him, raising my voice, "Take your family of 3, if you're so anxious for a family vacation. But this time, you'll be in charge of everything, including scheduling the tour and creating the schedule. It's about time you realized how difficult it is to handle everything by yourself. You indecisive man, go ahead if you think you can manage it." I took the marriage certificate out of the drawer and tore it up in front of him, making a firm statement. His jaw dropped to reveal my resolve, astounded. "Are you aware of how serious I am right now? I will not allow my future to be damaged. We've had enough. You mama's boy. Why don't you return to your cherished mother and weep with her?" Terry was left completely dumbfounded as I forcefully closed the front door. He may very easily go cry to his mother based on the look on his face. I could see it unfolding with ease. So I knew I made the proper choice. I contacted the trip operator to request that our bookings be canceled following the consequences. We were billed the entire amount because we had to cancel the same day. Terry received the bill I sent in whole. Considering how his actions had derailed our goals, it felt only just. It seemed like the proper course of action. Terry went on to spread gossip about me to our friends and coworkers, accusing me of being the reason our marriage failed. But it didn't seem like anyone was rooting for him. He began to be perceived by our family and colleagues as an unusual mama's boy. His recent behavior has only served to solidify this perception, and as a result, many people hold a negative opinion of him. My parents were shocked when I told them about the divorce, but they soon warmed up. "Maya, marriage isn't the only path to happiness." My mother comforted me. "What matters is that you're happy." I was so grateful for her words, which were like a balm to my soul. Strangely enough, this entire experience rekindled my love of travel. I went on my first solo trip after deciding it would be a pity to waste my vacation days. Although at first intimidating, traveling alone abroad proved to be immensely rewarding. I discovered that traveling alone was actually rather pleasurable as I explored historic cities that I had always wanted to see. This trip gave me confidence, and I now eagerly embrace going places by myself anytime I have free time. I am making travel plans for more, and I'm already thinking about my next vacation spot. Freedom and exploration characterize this new chapter in my life. It's a road unrestricted by the goals or expectations of others.